want to thank everybody for coming today to the press conference. We're happy to be back at the Valley View Casino Center. And back in San Diego, we had a very successful event last December when Gilbert Melendez defended his title successfully against Jorge Masvidal. I'd like to thank Showtime, our television partner, Muscle Farm, our sponsor for 2012. I'd like to also thank the California State Athletic Commission, and again for the Valley View Casino Center for hosting the conference today. I'd like to go on to the fight card. The main event will be broadcast on Showtime Television. It'll be 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific. It'll be tape delayed on the West Coast. We'll also have an undercard on Showtime Extreme, which will be amazing. We have some great fights on the undercard. And that will begin at 8 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. Pacific. Doors open at 4 p.m. local time, with our first bout beginning at 5 p.m. I'd like to also remind everybody that tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m., the weigh-ins will be here at in this room. Is this the room that's going to be in? Or on the floor? But it'll be here at the arena, and it's open to the public, so let your viewership and your readership know that it's open, so come on down and support the fight card and the main event. Tickets are still available. They're available at the box office and all locations where Ticketmaster you can buy the tickets. Tarek Safardine is here, but he won't be joining us up on the podium. But he will be available for one-on-ones after we introduce the fighters. So he is. Tarek, are you here? Okay. Sorry, Tarek. He's right in front of me. At this point, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the fighters. And to my far right, with a record of 15-3 in mixed martial arts, one of the most amazing jiu-jitsu practitioners. I've seen him fight in Japan. Got to fight all over the world in Abu Dhabi. One of the greatest grapplers in the history of mixed martial arts, with a record of 15-3 from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, out of X Gym, Mr. Jacare Souza. And his opponent to my far left, with a record of 9-1 in mixed martial arts, trains with Greg Jackson out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Mr. Derek Brunson. And now we're going to introduce our main event, 5 rounds in the bantamweight title. To my immediate left, with a record of 15-1, our former champion in Strikeforce mixed martial arts, out of Victoria, British Columbia, Canada, Ms. Sarah Kaufman. And she'll be fighting out of Venice, California, with a record of 5-0 in mixed martial arts, with an amazing history of fighting in judo, and 2-time Olympian, Miss Rowdy Ronda Rousey. At this time, we'll open up for questions.
Ronda, can you talk a little bit about sort of the build-up to this thing? And you've answered a million questions about all the attention that's been given to you leading up to this fight. How have you managed to kind of keep focused on the fight and not stray into all the other stuff going on around you?
Well, I always fight the same regardless of the situation. You know, I've had fights that I arrived the day before, you know, having to cut weight. I had fights where I had pit bull bites at my foot. I had fights where, you know, against my best friends and stuff like that. It doesn't matter. I respect Sarah a lot as an opponent, and I trained harder for this fight than any other fight before. And she might not know it, but she should be thanking her lucky stars that, you know, that MMA is properly regulated in California, because I respect her so much that I'm not taking any chances. If I get her in an armbar, I'm going to try and rip it off and throw it at her opponent. I throw it at her corner, and if I get her in a choke, I'm going to hold on to it until she's actually dead. And if I get her in a knockout, I'm not going to walk away from it. I'm going to try and actually pound her face into the ground, and she's depending on the competence of the California Athletic Commission to be able to walk out of that cage alive. And that has nothing to do with whether I like her or respect her. She seems like a nice chick. But every single time I go into fight, I pretend as if it's my little sister's life depending on it. And in that kind of situation, nobody could ever beat me.
You seemed a little salty when you got up onto the stage. You smiled when Scott introduced you, but is this kind of just like all business for you now at this point? I mean, obviously it's all business throughout your training camp, but.
I mean, yeah, I've done all my press before this, and I feel like I did all the work that I needed to, and I'm here to fight. I'm not here to, do a little dance for you guys. So, I don't know what else you would actually expect from me.
You brought up the armbar, and obviously that's something that everybody pays a lot of attention to, but does part of you want to end this fight by something other than an armbar just to get future opponents thinking about something else from you?
That's one theory.
You want to expand on that at all?
Nope.
Sarah, kind of on the other side of it, all the attention has been on Ronda. Has that allowed you to basically focus on her 100% heading into this fight?
Well, I definitely have done quite a bit of media and press myself, and I do think that there has been certain aspects focused on Ronda, and she's done a great job of handling it really well. I have no doubt that she has trained, fully for this fight, and I don't think that the press has really affected her at all. And I try and do the same thing. I focus on my camp. I work with my team. I train as hard for whatever fight I have coming up. I train harder than I would for any other fight because the fight in front of you is the most important fight that's happening at the time. And I feel really confident going to this fight, and I'm confident that Ronda's going to bring it. She's going to show up to fight. She's going to try and kill me, which is kind of mean, but that's all right. But at the end of the day, someone's going to walk out with the belt, and I want that person to be me.
And for Scott, somebody that's not on the stage, Miesha Tate, it's kind of become like the triangle between them. Where does she stand in the division? Can we expect another challenger for Ronda and or Sarah, based out of that fight that's also on the main card?
Well, I mean, we have 3 female fights on this fight card. We're going to take a look at it, those undercard fights as they happen or afterwards. But you know what? Ronda's going to have her hands full. Sarah's going to have her hands full. I look forward to seeing a great fight, and we'll take it from there.
Sarah, what's your reaction when Ronda obviously gives you the utmost respect, and she follows it up by saying she wants to rip your arm off, throw it into your corner, or choke you to death?
That's great. It's a fight. And that's what you want to do. You don't want to come in and play patty cake. That's not what we're here for. We're here to show up and do everything we possibly can to win. I mean, hopefully no one dies in the process. But again, it's a fight and anything can happen. So it's great. I mean, it gets people excited. And people want to see two athletes showing up and fighting and not just trying to outscore the other person. They want to see someone decisively finish a fight.
Thank you.
For both Derek and Jacare, I just want to get your take, both of you, on Luke Rockhold has been so vocal about wanting bigger challenges, wanting to go outside Strikeforce for challenges. As 2 of the top contenders in the Strikeforce middleweight division, what's your take on that, and what do you say to people that say the division isn't very deep?
I think we have a really good division in middleweight and Strikeforce. I think it's one of the best divisions right now in Strikeforce. We got a lot of tough guys here, so I plan to put a halt on those plans from Luke Rockhold.
Bullshit. Falando besteira ele. O Strikeforce está aí para provar que tem vários atletas bons na divisão. A prova disso foi a luta que ele fez comigo, e foi uma luta muito contestada. E ele está devendo essa luta para os fãs, e eu estou esperando ele aqui no Strikeforce.
Bullshit. The proof is there. The last fight he had with me was pretty close, and he feel like he gotta go again. So right there is a proof that there's a lot of good fighters in Strikeforce ahead, and looking forward to have a chance, and pay back and get my belt back if that happen.
Question for Ronda Rousey. Can you talk about your diet?
A diet? This guy, Chad Waterbury, does my nutrition. And it's kind of like a mix between the paleo diet and the warrior diet. I have 1 big meal at night, and I kind of just have like berries or whatever throughout the day, you know, very like high nutritional but low calorie stuff. And I really don't have any like high fructose corn syrup, nothing that, if I can't say it 5 times fast, it's a bad ingredient, pretty much. And that's pretty much it. You know, like a lot of these other athletes are trying to get as many trendy, you know, chemicals into their body as they can get away with, whereas, you know, the idea in my diet is I try to eat as clean as possible, and even like my water, I try to have very high quality water all the time. I try to not drink out of plastics, you know, and all my supplements are just pretty much ground up plants. It's not anything made from a lab.
I would question both for you and Sarah Kaufman. Can you talk about how much women's MMA had changed over the past year? Now, both of you guys, the main event, and we have Invicta Fighting Championship, and Ronda, you just did the Showtime, the cover, and if you guys talk about how much this had changed for you guys, if you look 4 or 5 years ago and today, now you guys are sitting here.
Take that first, Sarah, if you want.
Sure. Well, up until this point, you know, Strikeforce and Showtime have always had, for the last 4 years, I think that I've fought for them, have really been trying to push the females. And the partnership with Zuffa has enforced that even more, bringing in, you know, more to the table, really, in terms of, you know, Ronda has clearly made a huge dent in the scene, and her popularity has for sure helped all the women out there. And, you know, Chris Cyborg and Gina Carano, they were a main event for their fight. And then after that, you know, a lot of them were co-main events for the title fights. So the fact that the Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey fight was able to be promoted and pushed and made the main event has led to, you know, me being able to fight in the main event as well, along with Ronda Rousey. And it's a really positive thing. You see so many fans that are behind the females in the sport and that they're excited for these fights. And again, Showtime and Strikeforce having 3 female fights on this one card is just another kind of stepping stone to help the fan base grow as well as the talent base.
I think Sarah put it really well. I think one of the most encouraging changes that I've seen is I see a lot more respect within the sport, a lot of it from the men, and I appreciate that a lot, and that it really is encouraging to know that you know, the guys in the sport aren't just a bunch of, you know, like bullheaded hicks that they found in bars. You know, that is kind of like the image that was projected early on. You know, these are very intelligent and respectful athletes, and I'm glad that the women are starting to be, you know, accepted by, you know, pretty much our co-workers is the way I like to think of it. But I just, that's the most encouraging part of it, is to see the acceptance from the inside as well as from the fans on the outside.
Well, let's break it down for pictures then. There'll be limited one-on-ones after, so if anybody has any last questions, please ask now. If not, we're going to break it down. And again, weigh-ins tomorrow at 4 o'clock here at the Valley View Casino Center, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Programmet presenteras av betsafe.com.